Welcome. This is episode 2 of the Let's Be Real podcast with two ordinary dudes. I'm your boy F, my partner in crime,
Del, how you doing?
and we're just here, talking about any and everything that's going on in the world we live in today. Right now we're sitting here, we're drinking Altos, organic tequila. One of the best tequilas we're taking, a good little taste. And we're mixing that with a little passion fruit tangerine kombucha. I'm sorry. We like to just have a little drink. That's not going to mess our heads up. So anyone out there, go ahead and give it a try. It's really, really good. It has a smooth taste. So
Smooth for sure.
So, my friend, how you doing? How's your week?
I'm good. I had a good week. Actually came back from a competition my sister was at, bodybuilding. Yes, female bodybuilding. And it was interesting.
The only type of female bodybuilding I know is the Arnold Schwarzenegger looking women that run.
The girls that were there, a lot of them were pretty muscular, but not Arnold Schwarzenegger type.
Like it's toned instead of like how you would be in a
Yeah, it was they were more toned, not super muscular, but pretty muscular.
All right, not bad.
But it was a different experience.
She won?
And she placed fifth,
Oh, okay.
And it was just for the experience, so it was just cool to see something different.
Okay, and that's good. This week for me was what? Had my.
Listen, I didn't even ask you about your day. I'm ready to start.
Oh, sorry. I apologize.
I'm just joking. How was your week?
Nah. My week was all right. Spent it with the family. Sister graduated from college.
Oh, okay, nice. Sister, what's your sister's name?
Well, her real name is Ashley Gay, but I can't call her that. Her name to me is Tanil.
Tanil, yeah. Congratulations, Tanil. We are all very proud of you.
Yep. UConn grad. Class of what's that? 2024.
You know what year this is?
Yeah, it's 2024.
Okay.
Yeah. But we just did that, and other than that, just work and getting ready to pod, have these topics on hand.
All right. Yeah. I mean, I am ready to go.
Trying to piss a couple of people off,
All right.
So what you got on the docket?
First question of the day. I mean, we could start with something really controversial, or we could start off light.
I love controversy. I love controversy. Let's go. Shoot.
All right. So I wasn't really sure that this was a thing, but apparently it is. So first question. Why is there a divide between Black Americans and Jamaicans?
Oh boy.
For some reason, particularly the dark-skinned Jamaicans, I hear have issues with it.
Whoa.
That's what I'm hearing. I'm not saying that that is the actual truth.
Let's phrase the question correctly. Why is it that Americans have issues with dark-skinned Jamaicans? Not even just Jamaicans, but Caribbean people, period.
American men and women, or
American women? I don't give a damn about men. Not my cup of tea.
Okay.
American women hate dark-skinned Jamaicans. Not even dark-skinned Jamaicans. They hate dark-skinned Caribbean people. And I've experienced that once I came to this country.
Mm-hmm.
And it wasn't until recently where you've even started to see a difference in trend in which they accept dark skin is in. Coming up, when I came to this country, I used to get the jokes, when it's nighttime, all they can do is they can't see you other than when you smile. All they see is your teeth.
Okay. So
American women and I say this American black women specifically, they did not like me at all.
All right, so you felt that
It's not a feeling, it's a fact.
You felt that the American black woman
Hate dark skinned people.
hate dark skinned people or dark skinned Jamaicans.
Dark skinned people, period, but especially us Jamaicans, because a lot of Jamaicans coming up, we live outside. We weren't inside, we were always outside. So our skin complexion was a little bit darker than a lot of people. And coming up here, when it got to the age of when it got to the time where you start, looking at women and wanting to date and go out and, have that girlfriend that, you know what I mean? They did not want to, let's be honest, fuck with us dark skinned people.
Mm.
And that's why, especially, I dated a lot of non black Americans and I dated a lot of whites and Spanish people before I would look to a black American. And that was
No.
the way I was
All
up
right, all
until I
right,
got
all right,
married.
all right. Let's slow down because you're going too far. Let's break this down. First thing, so you believe black American women, first of all, this is going to sound crazy and the backlash is going to be real, but you believe black American women do not like dark skinned individuals, doesn't matter of what country, but particularly Jamaica.
Yes, without a doubt. Without a doubt.
Okay. But there's a lot of dark skinned black Americans too. They have to be around the same percentage wise of dark skinned black Americans.
And honestly, unless you a drug dealer or you some type of millionaire, they not fucking with you. It's that simple. They not fucking with you. If a dark s- un- if- and this was a trend that started to swivel recently that I've noticed. Recent that being dark skinned is in. And women, especially black Americans, will actually go to a dark skinned black person. But other than that, if you didn't have money or you wasn't selling drugs, they're not fucking with you.
I mean,
A regular Joe Smo dark skinned black person is not getting any type of black American female, period, unless you're a drug dealer or got some type of money behind you. It's just that simple. From my experience that I've
right,
seen.
right. Because that's what I was going to say. That's your perspective. Didn't see it that way. Maybe I was blind to certain things
You
that
you
were
you
going
ain't
on.
dark skinned, that's why.
I mean, I would think I'm dark enough,
Dark enough.
I think I'm
They
dark
they
enough.
they call you they'll call you not even not milk, I guess milk chocolate complexion. They're not gonna say I'm dark chocolate complexion with good teeth. That's all I used to
Uh,
get. Oh my god, you have good teeth. And when you smile, that's all we see.
maybe you just had some really nice teeth. Maybe they were spectacular, and that's just what people saw when they.
But no, 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 no.
Uh,
But this is what I'm saying. When it came to black women, that's what they would get. They wouldn't even want to fuck with me. But I looked at, I would talk to a white woman, I would talk to a Spanish girl. They didn't see that color. They just saw the personality.
right.
And
They didn't see the color.
I never, oh, you're dark, you're too dark, did this, did that. Never was that. That never came an option.
Do you think? Did you? All right. So let me ask you this then. Did you really go after women that were
Jesus, here we go.
like Rick? Wait a minute. What do you mean? Here we go.
I stopped. I didn't even bother trying to talk to a. Once I
Oh,
found out a woman was Black American, I was done. I'm not even gonna bother. Why? I already know what the answer is gonna be. They were all the
but did
same.
you? But you try at all?
When I was younger,
How old are we talking?
I mean, this is obviously pre-marriage and all that, but this is going back from
Like, what I want to know is when was the earliest time you talked to a Black American chick, And
I would say high school.
you let me finish. When was the first time you talked to a Black American chick and then you felt like she rejected you
Being dark skinned.
because of being dark skinned? I
High school.
guess high school. That was the first time that you ran into that.
I mean, earlier than that, I didn't. I mean, middle school, I was doing my thing, but I had a couple Black Americans that rocked with me back then. But at that point, you're young enough. You're not really. It's like a girl holds your hand or some type of shit. You're yeah. And then your later stages of middle school, you start. All right, you start making out here and there, but you wasn't really into all of that at that point in time. You know what I mean?
Right.
Come high school now, hormones really kick in. You start experiencing a little bit more. So it's like, all right, well, let's try to go out, try to date a couple Black Americans, and they wouldn't even look your direction. They wouldn't even look my direction. And
Do you
all
think it was just the
it,
particular Black Americans that you were going after acted that way?
what do you mean?
Maybe the type of chicks you were going after. Maybe there was a particular type of chick that you were going after, and they all had that characteristic. But if you had went for some other type of chick, they would have been fine with a dark skinned dude.
I mean, I don't really think I had a real preference. I mean, I just looked at
You don't have no preference.
now. I mean, for me, it was more of you have to be attractive to me. You got to be attractive, and for me especially, you got to have some good teeth. And then after I look at the teeth, I look at everything else.
All right. Well,
But
teeth is respectable. You know, you want to make
like,
sure you have good hygiene. That's
that's
cool.
it. I like to see a smile. Like when somebody smiles, the smile's the first thing I look at. And then, you go look at the body. But for being honest, for me, the first thing I look at is your smile. If you got a jacked up smile, I ain't fucking with you.
Mm.
That mean, I ain't messing with you. You don't take care. You don't even take care of your personal hygiene when it comes to like your mouth. I'm not rocking with you.
All right, girl. So well, he's taken already,
And I'm
but
taking man.
the
Don't get
ones
me
in
shot
the
up.
the ones in the past, fix your teeth. If you didn't he didn't choose you.
But that's why I think I never really had a preference per se, you know what I mean? And once it got to the point in high school where I realized like they don't rock with me, I said, okay, cool. I pivoted. So I dated a lot of Spanish girls, I dated a lot of white girls just because of the fact that
So you have no preference.
I don't have a preference.
No.
It was you just have to be for me it was at least you have to just be, attractive and have a good personality.
So she could be dark skinned.
Didn't matter if she was dark skinned, that mattered nothing to me. I didn't matter if you were light skinned, dark skinned, caramel color. That like for me that was and that's why I said growing up in Jamaica, that's not a thing. We don't look at we never really considered, color or who was dark skinned or who was light
Are you
skinned.
sure?
I mean
Maybe it's just stuff you wasn't privy to because I feel like in every country, no
I
matter what,
mean
there's that. I feel like Jamaicans are one of the top buyers of shit to bleach your skin.
well, that's
So
recent though. That makes what I'm
is it
saying.
really?
That's a recent thing. Jamaicans was not giving a damn about bleaching your skin until really, really, really started to become a thing when cartel started doing it. But before then, Jamaicans didn't give a damn. I ain't never met a Jamaican that gave a damn about a person's complexion. I've seen some of the darkest motherfuckers that were darker than me with light skinned girls. So
Mm.
it was never for
So
me at least experiencing that. It's not a thing down there. It wasn't like I said until cartel started bleaching his skin and then Black China started pushing all that shit down there. I never really saw people really giving a damn about bleaching their skin.
what is she pushing down there?
That bleaching cream that she made.
Mm. Okay. Well, I don't know. I'd have to look into that. But
Like honestly, that wasn't a thing for us. So from when I came up here, I was just like, black people rock with black people. Obviously, in Jamaica we got white Jamaicans, but they pretty much rock with themselves. Or, they rock to the Chinese, but black Jamaicans pretty much we didn't give a damn if he was light skinned, dark skinned. It didn't really matter.
I'm gonna need people to chime in on this because
If
I mean, I don't think he has a reason to lie, but maybe he's not lying. Maybe he's just seeing it a different way. Because I would have always thought that for a pretty long time now, there's some type of colorism, whether, it's lighter skinned people being chosen as, I mean, that's what they've done from forever, like, show more favoritism towards the lighter skinned
and
people. So the dark skinned people automatically start resenting the lighter skinned people. So to say that's not a thing, I think it probably was a thing. Maybe you didn't notice, but I don't know.
it,
Some Jamaicans let me know.
it's a thing amongst Americans because when you think about it, if you was a dark skinned black person as a slave back in the day, you was considered, you know, somebody that belonged outside. You was an animal.
But I think that was everywhere.
Mhm. I mean, even back then, even till this day, you I don't know. I feel like you'll still see a lighter skinned black person be chosen before a darker skinned black person.
Chosen by who though?
Anybody, because they're just more appealing to look
You
at
mean you're saying chosen
in
by
anything
women, or
by women, by men, because like I said, I mean, this is
so are
more
you
of
talking about jobs? You're talking about
no, I'm just
dating? You're
talking
talking
about
about
like dating and all that.
oh,
It's because you look at it as a darker skinned black woman is less likely to get looked at by anybody versus you put a dark skinned black person that's beautiful to a light skinned black person that's also beautiful. That darker skinned black person is not gonna get chosen. And like I said, recently it's been changing. That stereotype has been changing. I
mm,
don't know what the cause of that is. I don't know if because people are being more accepting or what it is, but I've seen a recent trend where that's not really the thing anymore.
right.
But like I said, it's a recent trend.
I mean, you know more than me, or at least I guess I would say that you would pay more attention to those type of things than I would a little bit. Um, but yeah, I mean, I've never really thought that deeply into it or seen the same things. I would figure maybe it's just me personally because I feel like
So let me ask you a question then. You see a dark skinned black person and you see a light skinned black person. Both of them are beautiful. Which one you gravitating to?
I think it depends on more than that because I like dark skinned women. I like light skinned women. I like women from different races if they're attractive to me. So for me personally, that doesn't matter if they're both, whatever. One's light and one's dark. They
You
both
don't know their personality.
well,
Which one you gravitating to?
that it depends on how they look to me because I would say one of the prettiest girls that I've dated. I would say the prettiest girl I've dated is dark skin, in my opinion. In my opinion. So
Who's that, by the way?
don't worry about that.
You said controversy. I don't. Let's get the controversy going.
You don't need to know specific people or names, all right? But I would say that's what I would say. So to me, that's where it's going to break down to is personality. I mean, if you just see two pretty girls, they're two pretty girls.
Yeah, but see, that's
I,
where
I don't I don't think that's fair to say.
it's a fair question because at the end it's hard. You can't answer because you're saying personality, which I get, but
Because what I'm
when you
saying
look
is,
at both,
listen, what I'm
which one are you
saying
gonna look
is,
at first?
what I look at is pretty to me personally. So it doesn't matter if they're dark or light skin. I don't value somebody because they're light skin.
No, you're misunderstanding the question. You have a dark skinned person and you got a light skinned person. Both of them at the bar. Both of them are beautiful. You don't know each of them from Adam. Which one are you going to be preferably? Which one are you? Do you think you're going to go to first?
Um, I don't know.
You got to think
The
about
one
it.
that looks. I mean, I'm gonna if I see. It doesn't matter. The one that is in my line of sight first, that's the one I'm gonna go to first. I'm
See?
not gonna be skip somebody and be like, oh, the light skin one over there. No, I'm not gonna do that. I'm gonna look if there's a line of girls there, I'm just gonna look scanned through the whole thing, not oh, light skin one here, light skin one there, light skin. Like, what the fuck? I don't.
Can't even
But I think that's for people who like light skinned people and not. I mean,
see
I don't
now.
feel like that's a requirement for
See now that's going into preference.
right.
Which
Which
all right, if you go into preference, a dark skinned black person was never a preference of anybody because they were always looked at as less than.
I think when we talk about trauma, I think you got a little bit of trauma
There's no trauma there.
because I don't think that is necessarily true.
That is true. From even in the slave days till I've heard this conversation being spoken of. I forgot who I was watching an interview about something like this before. And till this day, I mean, I think it was something in Hollywood or something like that. But they said the same thing. They said the same thing.
What did they say?
You know, a light skinned person was more preferable to get a role. A light
Yes,
skinned
because that's
black
white
person.
Hollywood picking what's closest to them. Like that's not the same. That's not the same as being around a whole bunch of black people.
Okay. Look at one of the dark skinned people that's out there right now. Lupita, I don't want to kill her name.
Okay, Lupita.
Lupita,
Okay,
I'll
we
just go
know
with
who
her
she is.
first name.
Everybody in the world know who she is.
And what does she date?
She dated a white person.
Okay. Why do you think that is? You don't think there's any black man that wants her?
I'm sure there are, but what are you trying to say?
But there are black men that want her now because she's famous.
So,
Beforehand, do you think there was any black man that would go for her? She's a beautiful woman,
okay, if beautiful
but
women, there's
she's
gonna
dark
be
skinned.
okay. So you're saying, so you're saying,
Our own race does not like dark skinned women.
you're saying that a black skinned guy won't choose a sorry, a dark skinned guy won't choose a dark skinned girl.
I don't think. I mean, to me, that's not an
The
issue.
the
But the
majority
majority
won't
won't.
do that. I think you're fucking
Okay.
crazy. I think you're.
There is no way you're gonna sit here and tell me that before she became famous, there was no that she was able to bag any black man she wanted.
Before she became famous.
There's a reason why she's dating only white men. I,
Elaborate.
I feel as if she's gone to black men and black men have shunned her because of her complexion.
This is an interesting take because I would have never, ever, ever in my life ever thought that was the reason that she was dating a white man.
Why else would you coming from I don't really know her personal, so I don't know if she's from Africa or from Europe or whatever.
We about to look it up now.
But I don't think she's gonna want to leave her race and go fully to a white person if black people showed her any interest.
So Lupita Nyong'o, don't come for me. Kenyan Mexican actress,
And she's beautiful, by the way.
and you believe that she's beautiful, and you're saying so before she became famous, she was shunned so much that she went to white guys.
I believe that's what it is. Because for me, at least, I know that's what I did.
Mm.
You can only get kicked in the face so many times before you say, you know what? I'll go where I feel accepted.
Well, that is a very interesting take because I swear to you, none of that would have ever run through my mind. But now that you say it, and coming from someone who is somewhat dark skinned,
Who?
you,
Oh, okay.
yeah, me, maybe that is the way she thinks. Because I swear that would have never crossed my mind ever in my life that she's dating white men. I would just think, she's famous. There's a bunch of white men around. Maybe there's a bunch of white men that have that type of fetish. We don't know that. And he's treating her good.
I don't think I mean, I understand that people cross mixed races nowadays, but
I think that's going on a lot more now than ever.
than ever before, yes. But at the core, at the hardcore root of it, I'm going to sit here and in my heart to hearts, I believe that she was so not even traumatized. I don't wanna cast nothing on her. I feel like she was just so shunned by her own race because of the complexion of her skin that she just said, you know what, F it. I'm gonna go where where I'm wanted,
S-
where they don't look at the color of my skin or I'm dark or I'm light skin or whatever, and they just look at me for me and say, you know what, she's beautiful. I like her.
So basically, you're saying she had so much trauma from when she was young, from being rejected, that when she went to the white guys, maybe the white guys were friendlier or whatever. The white guys talked to her,
I
and
don't know if it was more of like being friendly. I just feel like the white men or white people in general was just more receptive to her.
hmm,
They weren't, because I know in my case, if I wanted to date a white person, if I wanted to date a Spanish person, they just liked me for me. I was cool, I was funny, I was this, I was that. But, you know, my experience with, and this is when I say Black Americans is when I experienced, I don't know, maybe not, I shouldn't say Black American, I should say Americans or whatever. But, you know, coming up here, I looked at a lot of Black people
hmm,
and they just, I don't want to say shunned, because not like they wouldn't talk to me or they wouldn't befriend me. It was just more of, would they go out with me? No.
okay. So this is a little hard because I don't know Lupita's background, but it looked like she's been very famous, or at least her father was a politician from back in the day. She was born in Mexico City, it says. So maybe her case is a little different from you. The reason I say that is I think usually people see the world from their own lens and what's going on inside them. So maybe you feel that way about her because of how you felt in the past. Maybe she's not going through anything at all like that, but through your lens, that's how you feel because that's what's happened to you. And maybe she's just,
Like I
maybe
said, maybe I did say I don't want to put no type of trauma on her. Maybe she does prefer, you know, white men, which
right.
is, it's cool. There's nothing wrong with it.
Because like I was saying, usually your world is reflected to you, through your inside and what you're feeling on the inside. So if that's how you feel on the inside because of that's what's happened to you, that's what you're going to project out into the world, and that's how those are the glasses you're going to see everything through. That's why when I'm listening to you and you say the stuff that you're saying, it sounds a l- it sounds like stuff I would never ever have thought about, because I don't that's not the lens I'm coming from. Like that's not what I've seen, or that's not what I felt, so I would never look at it that way. I don't know. I mean, you could be right,
You never
but
really had to look at it that way because you never really experienced something like that. You know what I mean? A lot of people don't. I've had the conversations with people where they say, "Oh, well, you just don't like Black American women." I'm like, dude, that's the farthest thing from the truth. I love Black women, period. But my experience, especially with Black Americans, and my experience with Jamaicans or, somebody that's from the Caribbean or any Black person outside of America, is completely different than my experience with Black American women.
hmm, that is interesting. I would have never thought that,
You know,
because I feel like there's dark skinned Black American women too.
and even that, they won't date a dark skinned Black person. That's not their bag. They're not going to try to go after a dark skinned Black
I
person.
don't know if that's true.
I'm telling you.
Nah, I'm not gonna say that. I'm not gonna say that. I'm not gonna let you get off with that one. Hell no, because I know dark skinned dudes, you know, that are that were considered handsome in school, and they got girls.
Let me ask you a question now, because I know a bunch of them. What kind of life were they living? Did they flash money?
I mean, in high school, who really got money to flash like that?
Were they into a different type of lifestyle?
I don't know what that means.
They weren't upstanding citizens.
Are you asking if they were selling drugs?
Yes.
Why was that so hard to say?
Cuz we might know some of the same people. I ain't trying to get shot at nowadays.
We didn't say any names, so I don't know. But I don't know.
Because the ones I know, they were into a different type of lifestyle. They were selling drugs. They were flashing the money. They were in the freshest kicks. You know what I mean? And they were all that. And they got the girls.
Mm,
But like I said, they were in the freshest. Back then Jordans was in. They were in a different pair of Jordans every day of the week. Name brand clothes. When it got to the point, they were driving cars.
I'll be real. I'm gonna have to ask some dark skinned people this because
Hey, throw the, like, subscribe, comment. Let let
oh
let,
yeah,
let
no,
us
no, no,
know.
no, no, for sure. Comment about this because low key, it's kind of blowing my mind.
I'm
But you
pretty
could be
sure there's a lot of dark skinned people there's probably a lot of light skinned people that agree with what I'm saying right now.
mm, get them light skinned people. No.
And they can't lie about it because they know it's truth.
All right. I mean, shoot.
Like I
Maybe
said,
I'm just oblivious.
hit that button,
I could be oblivious to a lot of things. So, um,
hit that like button, hit that comment button, let us know.
hmm, hmm.
Really think about it. Of all the dark skinned people you knew growing up, and put all the light skinned people you knew growing up, other than the ones that maybe sold drugs or did whatever else, or played a sport. You can't anyone that was not playing a sport that was popular because of sports or because of selling drugs or whatever, none of them could bag a female
Mm.
unless that female was white or Spanish. Like if you go back to your mind, just think about it.
Well, I'm trying to, and I mean, I don't have anything off the top of my head, so yeah, I'd have to really, really think about that to give you a concise answer. Yeah, I mean, you're making a good case right now. I'm not gonna lie. I would never have. I would initially think you're crazy, but the more I think about things,
You and I are brothers. We've sat there and we've gone out. We've done a lot in our young lives.
okay.
Most of the women that you saw either of us talking to, you really never really saw me go after a black person, did you? Which is crazy because I talked to a lot of black girls, but you never really seen me go after a black girl.
I've seen you go after a black girl. What do you mean by black? Like
Like
dark
a
skin?
black American.
Oh, American?
Anybody black that you see me go after has to be somebody from the Caribbean or, you know, something like that.
Yeah, I can't say that I have. I mean, I spend a lot of time not around you too, so
Yeah, I mean, our party days, our going out days, this was more of like for me, I don't want to say it became a preference because, like I said, I love black people, but my experience with black people was not great. Not even black people, just black Americans. We moved from Jamaica to up here, and it was seeing black people in Jamaica was a regular thing.
right.
We didn't really look at, oh, this person was dark skinned. We didn't really look at, you know,
Yeah, I was just watching something and somebody said I she was from Africa and she was like, I didn't realize I was black or race called black until I moved to America. I was like, ew, that's interesting.
yeah, we don't look at nothing like that. We're Jamaicans, like that's all we are.
Right.
Like I said, we are white Jamaicans. We're Jamaicans. Our well, what would you call her? Our grandmother in law. I guess that's what she would say. White Jamaican, but we didn't look at her as a white. She was just Jamaican.
Oh.
You know,
Mm.
we don't really look at like. you're light skin or you're dark skin. We just look at you as, all right, you're black or you're Jamaican or you're white or you're Spanish. We don't look at, oh, I'm not Spanish. Like I've heard this. I'm not. I've seen. What the hell you? What does she call it? I guess I can't. She was like Dominican, but I guess she said she's not Dominican. She's like Black Dominican or something like that
Yeah,
because
she'll say she's
yeah, Afro.
Afro
Yeah,
Dominican.
yeah, that's what it is. I'm like, what? That don't make sense to me.
Well, that's because she identifies with that side.
But she said that because I think it was her father was black. And I'm
Hmm.
like, how does that not make you? I'm like, was your father born in like Africa or a black country or something like that? She's like, no, he was born in the Dominican Republic, but he's dark skinned, so he's like, I guess his parent was like from the Haitian side or something like that.
Mm.
I'm like, that don't make sense to me. You're black or you're white or you're Spanish. But like that's why I said I never understood why Black Americans looked at like dark skinned people and gave you a name. You're dark skinned, you're this, you're that. Nah, you're too dark for me.
Do you think that was just stuff that you witnessed when you were a kid? Like middle school and high school is still childish. Like, so those were kids'
I mean,
perspective, and kids picked on each other just because
that is true. That is
they
true.
were mean, like real mean kids at school.
That's true. That is true. And when I got older, I don't know, maybe I was just turned off completely from, you know, dating Black Americans that I never really tried again. So I don't know.
Yeah. So then again, that's like we were talking about. That's trauma. Like you got traumatized when you were in middle school and possibly high school, and now when you were an adult in your 20, 20, 19, 20, 21, when people are not stupid anymore or less stupid, um, you'd already given up on everything already. So you were like, I don't want to feel that pain again, or I don't want to have to deal with that because I already know what I think the answer is going to be.
I don't know, man. I don't know if you could call that trauma though, because I
Mm,
wasn't scared to talk to a black girl. I would talk to black girls. I just never really.
yeah, but that's like it was a mental block. It blocked you out from even thinking about going for it,
Yeah, I guess you could say that,
which was caused by the
but
trauma.
I don't think there's trauma because
You wouldn't have had that block if there wasn't.
I don't think there's trauma. There's no trauma there. It's like that point. It just created a preference. Like it just created a preference. I don't think it's trauma. I
I
think they
don't know.
just forced me to have a preference.
I don't know.
That's all. I really think it forced me to just have a preference.
Maybe, I mean, you could look at it that way. I'd look at it as, yeah, you were traumatized by those experiences. You may not feel like trauma and what you think trauma is, but it shaped your life pretty dramatically in terms of what you're looking at and who you're looking at. So it caused something to shift in you. That's pretty traumatic to me. I don't know. Maybe I'm not a psychologist, so maybe there's other terms, maybe better terms. I'm gonna go with trauma.
I don't take it as trauma because I look at it as I still find black people appeasing to look at. And it didn't matter to me if you're dark skin, light skin.
Right, but you weren't gonna approach that lighter skinned woman because
My wife is light skin. So that's but at the same time, she's also Jamaican.
yeah, so that doesn't count.
That is true.
Yeah,
I don't know, man. I'm telling you, I don't.
I don't know, but
Like I said,
that was an interesting argument
you guys gotta
or conversation. I should say.
put some comments and let us know what you think because I'm pretty damn sure I'm right.
Yeah, I'd love to see the comments because once again, that's not something I would really ever think about. But I'm sure there are other dark skinned people who are, because I'm dark skinned, people who are darker than me, um, who probably have the same perspective of things. I don't know. I'd have to talk to them and find out.
All right. Well, we'll
Leave a
leave that
comment for
for another
sure.
day.
I got darker skin friends. We gonna ask these niggas.
Leave that for another day. What else you got on there?
Wow,
Cause I got a couple questions for you, but
that one,
that's a tough one.
that one was did not start light. All right, you got a question with it? What's the question?
Well, let me throw this one at you then. You said you go for personality, right?
Yes,
So when you're
I
dating
mean,
somebody,
yeah, I mean, of course, I want to know for you.
all right. Well,
I want to. I want the person to be someone who I am attracted to. Of course.
but let me ask you a question. This is the question that me and my best friend, which we're gonna tie this into later on, came and was talking about. You're a single guy. Would you rather have someone that's natural, or would you prefer someone that's gotten work done?
Would I prefer if I could? So you're saying if there's two girls, let's say they look the same, but
Yep.
one is natural and one is got their body done,
One is store made.
then I would choose the natural one.
Why is that? Because that's what I said as well. But she said in her quote, her point was the one that got their body done is the
Hmm.
one that we're gonna go for. And I said that's not true. That's a misconception between men and women because women believe that men want somebody based off of what what they're looking at. And I'm like, that's not true because that can only go so far.
I think if you are, I'm not speaking for all men, but if you had the choice and they're like pretty close to each other, I would go for the natural one. If everything about them is the same, other than that, yeah, why wouldn't I go for the natural one?
But all
Not that
right,
there's anything wrong with the one that got her body done.
nothing wrong with it. But I feel like if you do something like that, if it's not, I feel like there's something not broken, but you have an insecurity that is caused by some type of trauma that you're not going to be able to correct, and it's gonna cause issues between you and whoever you're in a relationship with.
Hmm. So
Be-
you feel like women get their body done to
because of an
cover
insecurity
up an insecurity.
for something that they can't deal with. Because that would be like me saying, you know what, F it, fuck, you don't like me dark skin, I'm gonna go grab some bleach and I'm gonna bleach my skin because I want to be lighter to gain acceptance from people. Now, instead of me dealing with that trauma and dealing with not even the trauma, instead of me dealing with that, I don't want to say it's insecurity or me just dealing with whatever is within me that makes me feel like I need to do that instead of being who I am. Now I go do something. Now, all right, I might be more appeasing to somebody, but do you really think that you're? I don't even want to say. Are you fixing what's wrong with you? You know what I mean?
Hmm.
Because now I might say, all right, well, okay, I'm lighter. My tone is lighter, but now I have patches, or I get, you know what I mean? You know what I'm saying? Because I feel like, and this is my thing. And mind you, guys, I am married. And I love my wife. Love you to death, babe. But
You
I
better be
gotta be
careful.
honest. I gotta be honest.
Choose these words
It
carefully.
ain't even. I can't choose the words. It's called "Let's be real." So we gotta be upfront and real
Hey,
about it.
that's what I like to hear. I just.
You gotta be upfront and real about it. Me looking at somebody that got their body done versus a natural person,
Hmm.
and me and her talk about stuff like this all the time. It's like, all right, when you see that person that got their body done, all you really want to look at them and say is, you know what? I just want to smash. Let's be honest. You're not really looking at substance beyond that. And mind you, it's the same thing when it comes to a natural person. You know what I mean? Their body might be amusing to you, but at the same time, it's like once you get past that, what do you have to offer?
Hmm.
And this is something I wanted to ask you too, which is like I said, it's a topic that's going to tie in. What are you really looking for when it comes to a woman?
Hmm.
Like, is it just the body alone? Because this is where that conversation stem from. Are you looking at the body alone, or are you looking from what's beyond that? Because at the end of the day, You might have a dope body, but you can't offer me shit.
Yeah, yeah, that's there's girls who are pretty, but those are the classic what they show on TV, girls that are pretty but no brains, right?
No brains.
So obviously it's not all body, at least for me, it's not going to be all body. Maybe some guys will like that.
But that's what I'm saying. It's like is the when you say, and this where it's like one of those conversations where you get the body done. I feel like once you do something like that, you have an insecurity. There's something broken within you that makes you feel like you have to alter yourself to make yourself look appeasing to maybe somebody that shunned you.
Hmm.
And you
I
don't think,
mean,
and my question for you is, you don't think there's a trauma in there that you go into a relationship with that person that there's gonna be some type of disconnect?
what I would say is I think for some people, yes, and some people, no. I think you're putting everybody into a certain category, and it may not be true for everybody. Because let's say, all right, we have 100 girls that got their body done. I think if I go down the line, there's going to be girls that, and they were actually truthful, girls who got it done for the reason that you said. But I also think there's going to be girls who got it done just because, or I don't think I don't think it's necessarily from trauma for all of them. Some of them, yeah, probably. I think some girls just want to get it done, or they've seen stuff on TV and like, I wish my boobs were this big, or I wish my boobs were smaller. Like, I don't think it's all 100%. But I think for sure there are definitely people who have been, who've dealt with some type of trauma in that way, and that made them go out and get the surgery. But I also think not 100% of them are that way.
I don't know, man. I'm telling you, in my heart of hearts, I'm like, anybody that gets nothing done that's not necessarily medically necessary
Hmm.
has a trauma or has some type of
What about people? I don't think so. People do it because maybe for a role in a movie. Let's say, so you saying anything done like getting your teeth,
no,
get
no, not
Shannon
like
Sharp
that.
got his teeth done. He got veneers. He has a trauma that made him get veneers.
Yes,
Okay.
I'm gonna say that he was ridiculed and embarrassed in some way that made him feel like he had to get veneers put in
Hmm.
because you could have gotten your teeth fixed, or maybe his parents didn't have the money to get his teeth corrected from when he was younger, so he was ridiculed from when he was younger.
Maybe.
There was some type of trauma that made him go and get veneers. I forgot who I heard the other day said they went. And the first time he got a check, he went and got his teeth done because his teeth was jacked up because his parents didn't have the money to fix his teeth when he was younger.
Hmm. Oh yeah. I mean, some of that stuff you've always wanted to do ever since you were a kid. So yeah.
You wanted you know like let's be honest, a lot of people in the black, especially the black community, because you gotta remember a lot of the people that's doing this stuff is in the black community. They didn't have money for braces. We didn't have insurance and all this other stuff. We weren't told that you need braces to correct a deformity in your teeth. You know what I mean?
Hmm. Or they weren't going to get paid for it.
Exactly. So a lot of these people that do I think that fix their teeth is because they come from a place or they come from, you know,
Oh yeah, teeth I could see. Yeah, I mean,
so that like, and that's something that's it's necessary.
right.
But going and getting like butt fucking injections that look like shit after a couple of years is disgusting to me. And I've heard Nicki Minaj say she went and did it because she saw all these other girls getting attention.
Yeah, I could see that. I mean, I've known.
And I used to love Nicki Minaj natural.
Uh, I don't know. You might be right about this because yeah, there's a lot of women. I feel like people are constantly judging themselves against one another, which is natural. I feel like everybody does that. But it is interesting because to me, in my experience, I've had women who were let's say they were petite or smaller, some of them not even that small, they were whatever, but they were smaller women, and say they want to be bigger or they want to be thicker or they, they're trying to get bigger. And then I have smaller women, I mean, sorry, bigger women who say they want to get slimmer or they like to, tone up and do this stuff. So,
Let me ask you a question. You see all these white women out here getting these asses naturally, and you see all these black women trying to go skinny. You like it? Nah. I'm sorry. I apologize, man.
oh my God. Do I like it? Is this how you present the question? Okay.
Nah, but it's just one of those things where I'm seeing it now a lot lately, where black women are not. I don't want to say starving, but they're doing things.
Like what?
Like, you gotta remember, the white woman with the slim waist and the anorexic type of body was what was selling in Hollywood now. And
Mm-hmm.
now it's like black women strive to want to be that, want to be all that. And now it's like,
You think black women? I don't think black women are striving towards being.
oh, you're crazy. I see it. I see black white women want the bodies now.
No, no, no. I see that. I see if I go to the gym, I'll see white girls doing all the butt exercises that you know that they can. That I don't feel like I really saw in the past. Like, let's
They
say
wanted to be skinny.
let's say 4 to 5 years ago, if I went to the gym, I wasn't seeing white girls doing all of that. I noticed that shift when I seen all the girls doing that butt exercises and stuff. But you don't think that's just because?
It's better to look at because black men want to see something back there, and not for nothing, these white girls are getting some asses, and these black girls want to go out there and starve
All
themselves.
right, all right. Let me get this to be a little concise, real quick. So you're saying white girls are doing butt exercises, glutes, whatever, quads, to get black men?
Yes,
Why do they want black men?
because it's okay now. It's literally okay now. Before, because all the racist shit that was going on back in the day, there's a shift where you're seeing white women saying, all right, well, it's okay to be with a black person now. It's not going to be looked down on. You know what I mean? And
I hear you.
not for nothing, but black women aren't really going after black men as much anymore.
And when you say black women not going after black men, you mean
Any
any
black
shade
woman,
of black
it doesn't
women
matter what you are.
not going after black men.
They're not going after black men because they look at black men as shit.
So who are they going after?
I'm not gonna lie to you. A lot of these days now, I see a lot of, you know, well, it was always that way before. Black women would, date a lot of Spanish men, but I see them.
Really?
I see them with a lot of, yes.
That's what you're seeing
I see it. Well, nowadays I see a lot of black women with white men.
in your day to day?
Day to day,
Or
yes.
are you talking about celebrities or what
I'm talking about my day to day.
You're saying black women are starting to go after Hispanic or sorry, Latino men, uh, more or white men.
I'm seeing a lot of them going with white men. White men, to be honest, I've seen a lot of black women with white men. And when I, you know me, I broach the subject. And you know what I hear a lot of the times?
Broach the subject with who?
As to why,
With who?
anybody. I don't care. You know
Okay.
me. I broach the subject with anybody. And a lot of the response I've heard has been, well, these dudes out here ain't shit. And I'm like, what do you mean? Well, these a lot of how do you say it without being offensive?
Be offensive because I don't know what you're talking about. I just want to hear you say it.
A lot of these females out here are saying, I'm sorry, women are saying like black men don't really fuck with black women. and they don't want us. So we're gonna
That's
go where
that
we're wanted.
that's what you're seeing or hearing from the women?
I've heard it from women that black
Uh,
men ain't shit. They're just out here to fuck, and that's it. They're not really out here to
okay.
offer you anything.
Uh, okay. I need to hear from women on this because everything that you're saying to me, it feels like we're living in two separate different worlds right now.
What do you hear? What do you see?
I think if you asked black women, they will say that black men are into all the other type of girls, the
Why is
white
that?
girls, the Spanish girls,
Why is that?
the whatever. And their reasoning, I'm not a black woman. This is just from what I've seen. So, but the reasoning is because they say that the men feel better about themselves or feel like that's a status symbol to get a white person. And I mean, that goes back to like slavery times. I've heard people speaking on that they want to go for the lighter ones because that makes them feel as if they've elevated in society. So this it goes back to what we're seeing now today with a lot of black athletes choosing these white women.
Not true.
So you're saying it's the reverse.
Not
It's
true.
these black men have been rejected by the black women. So
Not rejected. I feel as if, um, barring the colorism thing, right? Black men are choosing outside their race because, and I've been looking at a lot of things, Dr. Umar and all those other things. And not even just him because he's on a different level, but when you look at it, I actually sat there and I was listening to a college athlete the other day say, a black woman is just gonna look at you and say, "What can you do for me?"
mm,
And it's not, "What can I do to help you?" Or even nowadays where you'll see a lot of, and you'll hear a lot of women say, "Well, I'm not doing this. I ain't cooking. I ain't cleaning. I'm not." It's not the night. I've This is what I've heard a lot.
hmm
It's not the 1950s. We don't have to do all that.
all right. So you're saying black women, basically, black women are
They don't want to cater
they're looking, okay, they don't want to cater. So they're looking for what can you do for me?
instead of what can I do to help you?
Right.
And white women, not even just white, because I've seen this with Spanish women too. They'll sit there and say, and I've talked to a Spanish girl before, and she was just like, I want to go out there and work. I want to help. I want to be able to take my man on a vacation. I want to do that. You know,
hmm
I don't really hear no black person say, I want to take my man on a vacation.
Hmm.
You know, I've never, and I'm one of those people where, mind you, I'm married. Honey, I love you. I look at it as, I don't expect a woman to do all the household chores. You know what I mean? I'm not one of those 1950s where I go out and work and I expect to come home and have a cooked meal. I know this is it's a different generation. A lot of women and a lot of men both work. So we have to share responsibilities. But a lot of black women, and I've seen this, and I've experienced, not even experienced it, but I've had a conversation where I've seen black women say, well,
And before you finish, when you say black women, you're talking all different
it's
age
all
across the board. Go ahead. Go ahead.
because
Go ahead.
it
Go
ain't
ahead. Go ahead.
country, and it's all of them now, where a lot of these women don't even know how to boil water. They can't go out there and cook you, bake you a chicken. They're like, oh, I'm gonna go buy something. I think what they said, I've heard, I'm gonna go to Boston Market, pick up a chicken, throw it in the oven for 20 minutes because I know it's not gonna be fully well done, and that's dinner. What?
Okay. So you believe black women are not catering to black men,
No.
and that's why the black men are going to the white and Latino women.
Yes. But I've seen white women go and cook a fully cooked meal for their person.
That season it?
You might have to throw a little salt on it. I got throw a little salt on it, but hey,
Oh shoot.
it's cooked nonetheless. You know what I mean? It's a cooked meal. And like I said, it's not something that needs to be on a daily basis. You know what I mean?
But let me ask you, you think this is the majority of what's going on today?
Yes, I honestly feel it's the majority because past. I mean, we're getting to that age group where we have younger generations under us. You'll see a lot of them now. It's not really. It's not a priority. Well, it's not. Taking care of your man is not a priority anymore. I'm an independent person. I'm an independent woman. You hear that a lot. I'm independent. I don't have time for all
So let
that.
me ask you, where are you getting this from? Because you're married. So why do you feel this way?
It's not I feel this way. It's just stuff that I see and stuff that
Uh,
I talk to people.
okay. But
I'm
that's what I mean. Like, is this your friends that are saying this, or is
yeah.
this
It,
just
it's
what you see?
it's the friends I have that will sit there and have conversations about stuff like this. You know,
So do you think your friends are just choosing the wrong women? Because I don't know.
the few
I,
friends that I do have, a lot of them don't even have black women as their partner because of stuff like that.
that is interesting. 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 I don't know because, and not that I mean I haven't dated that many women recently, but I feel like pretty much all of the girls that I've dated know how to cook.
What race are they?
They're all black.
From where?
Um, some were born in America, some were born in
I mean,
Jamaica, some
I'm
were
just saying.
born.
No, I get that. I'm saying, what's their heritage? Because that makes a difference. Because
Yeah, some were black American,
okay,
and she cooked the most. She was the most catering of anybody. So
all
that's
right,
why I asked
is
these
her
questions.
heritage from the south or the north?
I don't know all of that. I don't think it was from the South.
Because that makes a difference. I
No,
didn't realize
no,
that
I'm sure
before,
it makes a
but it makes a
difference.
difference.
But then you're painting these broad strokes then
It's
because
not a broad stroke because the way you were raised is gonna depict
of
like
course,
it,
usually,
all right. All my kids are born in America, every single one of them. But I don't raise them in an American. From what I've seen as a American traditionalist type of thing. You were born up here, and your parents did not raise you the way I've seen a lot of American parents raise black kids. We weren't allowed to do a lot of shit until we got older at least, and that's how you were raised in Jamaica. You wasn't allowed to just walk out the house whenever you want. You couldn't talk back to your parents.
all right. But we're bringing this back to grown up people. We're talking about Black American women that are not catering
Yeah, but that's
to
what I'm
their
saying. It
man.
all depends on where they were raised, or how they were raised. Because a lot of these women now were raised in a way where it just didn't really matter because they didn't really feel like they had to cater to men. And I've seen where I've gone some places and then how not how like how do you call it, like get-togethers and whatnot,
Hmm.
where it's the men catering to the women, which there's nothing wrong with, but that's not what we're used to.
And when you're saying catering, what involves what
Like,
are you including in
I mean,
catering?
maybe I'm saying maybe catering is the wrong word, but
But what in that definition? What are you saying? What are they doing? What would you?
your mother, if you go out to dinner, you're at a get together.
Let's just take it out. What do you consider a woman should
All right,
do?
catering is the wrong word then. Maybe it's not cater. But we go out and we're at a get together. I would expect my significant other to make a plate for me and for her. You know what I mean?
Mm,
And I mean, like I said, that's just how we were raised as we would see our parents. That's just something that our mothers always did.
hmm. I
Eh,
never. I mean, a lot of this stuff, that stuff, I don't really put stock into because if I'm not saying that's not how it is. That's just not how I operate. Like if I go somewhere
All
and I
right.
want food, I'm gonna say, make sure you put some food to the side. That's just me personally.
You're gonna make
But
sure
there are women who are gonna go out there and make sure that you're okay.
you're okay. You know what I mean?
That's what you're saying, or that's something that you're saying is why black men are leaving black women.
It's one of those things where not and catering is the wrong word. The treatment of a black man is different from to black women. That's what I'm seeing. The treatment is different because black women will sit there and say, "I don't need you." You know, I've seen a lot of videos where they'll sit there and say, "I'm independent. I don't need you. I don't need a man. I don't need this. I don't need that." And I'm looking at it as, all right, if we're being honest, none of us really need anybody.
Right.
You don't need anybody,
Right.
but you want to feel appreciated.
Yeah.
And black women are not really showing appreciation because they've been, and I've watched, I've seen a couple of things where they've said, we've been, what the word is, I was watching a video the other day, I can't remember what she said. She said, basically almost like, I can't remember the exact words, like we've been put down for so long to feel that we're less than.
Mhm.
So now we're showing them now we don't need you.
Hmm. I mean, I think there's a certain segment of women that are. I think it might be a little heightened at the time, like as in right now, because just the times that we're in, and there's a push feminism and stuff like that. Like feminism has always been there, but I feel like it's skewing one way. But a lot of these things I look at like, I don't know, maybe it's just me, but I don't really take them that serious. Like I think everything is on a pendulum and it's always swinging back and forth. So they're going to keep going one way. Oh, we don't need men. Men aren't shit for us. And then they're going to find the jobs where they need the men for. And they're like, let's back off of that. And the pendulum swings back. And maybe we do need men for this and this and this. I feel like it's always moving. There's always like, we always go to one extreme and then we go to another extreme, or we might settle in the middle for a while. So I don't know.
So let me ask you a question. Two women, both equally beautiful, both work. Would you prefer the one that makes you fend for yourself? Or would you prefer the one that, even though she might be a little tired, she's going to make sure you're okay?
Well, yeah, everybody wants somebody that's going to care for them.
So it's appreciation, you know what I mean?
Well, yeah, I mean, yeah, everybody
Both
wants to be appreciated.
all equal. All right, let's keep it equal. You're in IT, she's in IT. You work 9 to 5, she works 8 to 6 or whatever. You know what I mean?
Hmm.
Whatever. You're both equal.
Hmm.
The one, you know, she looks at it as you're both working, and how do you want to say? I don't want to say it because hold on. Let me think of the question correctly because if you want some type of an appreciation factor, you know what I mean? You're both working, but she gets home, she makes sure she cooks dinner for you,
Hmm.
right?
Hmm.
She'll make sure you have clothes to, wear.
Right.
And then the other one, both of you are working. She comes home, she does nothing for you. But you're both working. She does nothing for you.
Hmm.
But at the same time, she's this one that's working on the left side, she might not converse with you on a regular or something like that, you know what I mean? But the one on the right does nothing to make sure you're okay, but
Hmm.
you and her have a good mental connection.
Okay.
You can talk for hours.
Okay.
But the one on the left, you can talk, but not for as long, but she takes care of you.
Okay.
Which one are you gonna be more likely to stay with?
Me personally, the one I could talk to.
And even though that person does nothing for you, you don't think you're gonna start to create that animosity that she does nothing for you.
I would create the animosity with both of them. because that's the way I am. Because I'd rather somebody who is mentally stimulating and who like
So this goes back to our last week episode where you said that emotional connection. So you prefer the emotional connection to the one that's going to make sure you're physically and mentally, maybe not mentally okay, but she's gonna make sure that you're okay, but you don't have that emotional complete connection to.
yeah. Because I'm gonna get so bored. I'm like, yeah, she made me sandwiches, but
No,
I
no,
can't talk to the chick.
no, but I'm saying you can speak to her, but at the same time,
Bro, this if I talk to a girl and it's like dead and it's not like nothing good is coming out of it, like it's just like I'm talking almost to a wall, but she's there, there's nothing stimulating. I'm like, why am I coming home to this? Why am I coming home to this torture?
man, I don't know. That's different for me, cause boy,
I just I just think
because I feel like you're gonna get to a point where, yeah, you might have that emotional connection, but she don't do shit for you. And you're gonna be like, why am I here? I feel like it's better to have the one that's gonna make sure that I'm okay, and yet it's not all the time we have this,
and when you say don't do shit for you, so all right, let's do it. This is boyfriend, girlfriend, husband, wife. What are
either
we?
or.
No, it makes a difference.
It's all honestly the same. Once you're living together, it's all the same.
Okay, we're talking about somebody who's living together
Yeah.
now. All right, so people who are living together, and you have one.
Okay, one that you dropped your clothes off, she picks it up from the dry cleaners, and then the other one, you asked her to pick up something from the dry cleaners. She said, "Fuck you, I don't got time for that." But you and her have stimulating conversations. Eventually, over time, that stimulating conversation ain't gonna do shit for you.
Uh, Over time, both of those would slowly kill me.
Really.
Both of them would slowly kill me to death. Like I cannot stay in either of those relationships. I would have at this point in my life, I would have noticed that by now, and I'd have been like, "Nah, I'm out on both of them,"
Why?
because I would rather be single than be in any of that. Like, why would I be with somebody if I'm not getting what I need out of them? And vice versa, if they're not getting what they need out of me. If I need you to stimulate me mentally, and I also need you to
What I'm
figure
saying.
out a good balance, I'm gonna
Okay.
wait for that.
But but the one on the left is giving you that
I
mental
don't give a.
stimulation, but it's not on a regular. That's what I'm saying. The
Well,
one on the right
you're pushing the
gives
goalpost now. That's
is
not
but what I'm saying is a lot of women that's in the working, a lot of working women nowadays, they say, I can't always be there for you mentally, but I'm always gonna be there for you. You know what I mean?
Well, I just don't want to find those women. I don't know what to tell you because
You wouldn't want somebody that you at the end of the day you already know they have your back. They're gonna be there for you. It's just they both
yeah.
they work, so they might not have that emotional connection that you need on a daily basis.
Well, yeah, no, I don't think anybody's gonna have that every day. I mean,
But the way you saying it, this one on the right has that emotional connection for you on a regular, but she does nothing else for you. She believes that you need to fend for yourself because you both work.
it depends. We might be able to make that work. It depends. If are you gonna put up money so that all the other stuff around gets done then?
Well, that's pushing the goalpost because she wants you to be the man.
Well, if that's the case and you're doing nothing,
Like she does nothing for you other than give you that emotional connection. That's what I'm saying. The one on the left does everything. She just doesn't have that emotional connection all the time that you need. But the one on the right, she does nothing for you, but gives you that emotional connection.
when you say emotional connection, what do you
You can
mean?
have a conversation with her at the drop of a dime. You barely argue.
It depends. It depends on how much, but probably the one on the left then. If she provides that sometimes,
And
I don't know. I wouldn't want either of these women, but
but that's what I'm saying. This is where a
Uh,
lot of times now I'm seeing, and like I said, this is just when having conversations with friends or having conversations with people I work with or something like
mhm,
that. This is where I see the one on the left is the typical nowadays woman. They're not always going to be physically, or not even physically, but mentally there for you. But they have your back. They're going to make sure you have something to eat. You're going to make sure your clothes is washed and dry cleaned and do any of that. But they're not mentally there all the time for you
or why not?
because they have their own job, they have their own career, they have whatever else is going on in their life. You have conversations, and when you do start talking, you have great conversations.
Mhm,
But it's just not something that's on a daily type of thing. You know what I mean?
yeah. I mean, I don't know. I guess that's fine. Not everybody's gonna have that in them every day. You would hope to have the
So
you,
you would rather have someone that you could talk to every day,
but she does nothing.
but she does nothing.
Probably not, because I think, and we live together. I think that would just bring stress on you at the end of the day to have to do everything.
So we agree.
Is she doing?
You just took a little longer
Is she doing
time.
her own stuff?
Well, that's
Is she
not.
taking care of herself? Like,
No,
oh,
you're the one that's taking care of all this other stuff. But it's what I'm saying. This is where I've seen a lot of I've seen a lot of videos of the one on the right is a lot of black people, a lot of black videos that I've seen lately.
hmm,
Once we started saying we're gonna do this, I started kind of divvy around, do a little research, and a lot of the things I've seen is black women saying we need to be catered to.
who, the black women?
Hmm.
I think
Don't get me wrong, black women have been disrespected for a very long time.
I don't even think I mean, I'm sure that's the case, but what I would say is I think both people should be catering to each other, and that's it. Like, I think we just went a long way for that.
And then, but that's what I'm saying. That's why the white women and the Spanish women, they're more catering to black men nowadays. They're gonna make sure you're okay, on top of making sure they gotta do what they gotta do for themselves. I was watching this video the other day where it was a black athlete. He was talking about he's in D1 football school,
Mhm,
and he said he spoke to a couple of his friends. Now they have the NIL deals where they can get paid in college.
mhm,
And he said one of them was dating a black girl. And once he signed his deal, he wanted to go to their favorite restaurant.
mhm.
And he said the girl sat there and said, "Oh, nah, you just had to come up. We going to X, Y, and Z.
You just had to what?
Eh,
Oh, she's basically saying that he got money now, so we take me out to
we not doing
somewhere
that
nice.
exactly." But then he started dating this white girl, and the white girl was like, "Why the hell are we going there? Let's just go to this restaurant.
Mhm.
Let's not waste that money." And then,
And you think this is a color thing?
well,
Black
I think that's
versus
a white girl playing a long game.
mm,
I think that's white people nowadays seeing that, hey, black people have money. All you gotta do is just bite your tongue and do nothing. They're playing the long game because they know the minute they screw up, we got them.
mm,
And black women aren't realizing that they're losing a lot of black men because they're not. They're focused on the wrong thing. And I'm really all for blacks being with blacks. I don't, and it's not a discriminatory race type of thing. You know what I mean? Because a lot of white people don't understand where black people are coming from with a lot of things.
right.
So you can't expect them to understand, even though they might. And I have a lot of white friends, and I have a
Mhm.
lot of white people I talk to. Even though they might agree with you,
Yeah.
they will never experience and understand where you're coming from.
No, that yeah, that's a given. Like we know that.
So it's like no matter what, you know, I I'm pro black. If you fall in love with a white person, it is what it is. Love is love. So
Right.
I'm not one of those people that be like, oh nah, you can't marry a white person or you can't marry a Spanish person or none of that. It's just I feel black people are starting, they're black, especially black women, they're not really paying attention to what's really going on. They're focused on the wrong thing. They're focused on what a man can do for them versus what can we do together.
Right. Uh, well, I don't know. I can only speak from what I would hope that somebody at a certain age level would understand that, yeah, it's better to, if you are with somebody, and especially if you know this is a person that you can build with and that you really are into. Like, I don't, a lot of people get in relationships just for security and just because he's nice enough, but he has money and all that stuff. So I don't think those are I mean, people could do what they want and what makes them happy. I don't think that's the right reason to get into a relationship. Like, I really, at this point in my life, think I need somebody that we can sync up with on the same page and that you really are into. Cause I feel like if that's not the case, it's gonna die out. And then 20 years down the line, you're just gonna be there like, eh, she does all right. She makes sure I have food and she vacuums, you
But
know?
this is why I think it all stems from our earlier topic of would you rather somebody that's natural versus somebody that's aesthetically good to look at? But that's all they can do for you is give you somebody that's aesthetically good to look at.
Well, I think that's easy. You want somebody that looks good and does stuff too, like somebody that you connect with. That's the most important thing.
So you hear all you women out there that think we want a woman that's just, she got the butt lift and she got the great tits, but got nothing else to offer. That's not what we want. We want somebody that's real, and that doesn't mean. And I mean, it can also be somebody that has, you know, done body work or something. But we want more than just the body to look at. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
That's what we're looking at. We're looking at somebody that has just more than the body to look at. You know, I'm a little thirsty. I think we kind of agree on a lot of these things.
I think in some roundabout way we've gotten somewhere. Somewhere. I'm not going to say we agree 100% on a lot
I
of
think we
things.
agree.
I think your views are a little skewed one way
Skewed.
for certain things, certain topics. Um,
I don't think so.
I think we're gonna have to come back and flesh them out a little bit more
No,
detailed.
I think our subscribers and our viewers are gonna have to tell us because I know they agree with me.
Uh, hey, if they agree with you, they agree with you. Maybe I got a blind spot. That's
You got a big
okay.
body spot.
Hey, if I'm wrong, I'm not one of those guys that are gonna, that's gonna fight and say, that I'm right.
Hey,
If I'm wrong, the evidence presents something else, hey,
hey, let's take a
I'll change my mind like this. But
let's send out a message to Miss Lupita. She could go back and tell me if I'm wrong.
yeah, I wish he would reply.
I wish she
Shit,
would reply.
put you in your
Um,
place.
I mean, what else you got? What else you got on our docket for today?
Do you think men and women can be friends?
Hmm. Boy, oh boy.
That age old question.
My answer is sweet and simple. Absolutely.
Well,
With, and there's a big with. Well, not with, but depending on when you become friends.
okay, so it depends on when you become friends. So you're dating a girl for 2 years, 3 years, hypothetically, and then out of nowhere she gets a new friend, Brian.
That can't work for me.
Can't work. Why?
And I'm not saying, well, let me not say that. Y'all can go ahead and be friends, but the type of friends is going to be a little skewed off for me.
Okay.
It's going to be a little skewed.
So we got levels to this
There's
friendship.
level to the friendship, exactly.
Okay. So break down the levels for us.
All right. My best friend is a woman. She's gorgeous and she's a pain in my ass. An absolute pain in the ass. But at the same time, she and I were friends before any relationship I've had.
Mhm.
And we've been friends through pretty much everything from what year are we in now? 2024.
Yeah, still in
She has
2024
been my friend since
for a long time,
no,
okay.
very, I can't even do the math. This has been a long time.
That's cool.
So, any relationship I've had, I've always told that person, like, hey, my best friend is a female. You have to be accepting of it.
Mhm,
I put it out there. There's no kind of impropriety. There's no funny business, nothing like that.
mhm,
We've just been friends for the longest time. Now, we're in a relationship, and I go outside and I meet Sally. I can never call Sally a friend. Like, we could be friends, but she's not a person that I can just be like, hey, hon, I'm about to go hang out with Sally.
mhm.
Nah, that don't work. That
Right.
that don't work because nah, that's somebody that's, after a relationship.
Yeah.
She can be a friend, but she has to be a friend between the both of us. You know what I mean? I
So
feel like
y'all both have to be friends with her,
exactly. And
and
if
that'll
that
be
can't
okay.
work, it can't work.
Mm.
That's when it's okay when you and your significant other are now friends with that person of the opposite sex.
What if she's texting you apart from your significant other? So it's not like a group text thing, it's just she's texting you stuff on the side.
But this
Maybe maybe
this
she texts you like a joke or whatever
and this is a friend after the relationship or before the relationship.
after.
Then if I mean that's fine, but you also have to now if my significant other asks to view all those messages, you have to be open to it.
Well, yeah, I mean, if you're not doing anything, which you would claim to be,
Then you got to be open to it.
mm,
I feel like that's fine.
yeah.
But when you have those friendships where those lines were blurred and the lines were crossed, it can't work. And it's I don't really think it's that difficult. I mean, I've heard people say no,
Mhm.
you can't have a friend that's a female
Right.
or one of you is gonna want to sleep with each other, or one of you are gonna once that door gets cracked or opened, one of you are gonna want to sleep with each other. To
But
me, that's nonsense.
all right. So what if it was a friend after you guys have been together, but you don't think he looks, and you don't think he looks better than you, and you don't think she'd be attracted to him? Would you still have that same argument for them? Like, nah, it can't work.
On me speaking,
Hmm.
I'll put it in my perspective.
Yeah.
If my wife was to have a friend, have a so-called male friend,
Hmm.
I'm personally I'm gonna take you as your word. You know what I mean? I feel like once you're in a relationship, there's a right and there's a wrong. You know what I mean?
Mm.
You if you have a so-called friend that comes into the relationship, if you allow that person to cross that line, I can't be mad at that friend or so-called friend. Now it's on you.
Hmm.
And at that point, like if something was to happen or if something was to be found out, like say you send he sends you a message and I go to look at the message, you tell me no, I can't look at the message. Now we starting to have problems because if this person is just your friend, there should be no issue.
Mm.
And that's where I think a lot of people get the misconception of, this person's your friend versus because I can sit there and say it's not a lot of dudes that will sit there and befriend a female. You know what I mean? Especially if that female either looks good or not.
Yeah.
A lot of times they have a hidden agenda. I know for me personally, I'm growing up. I had a lot of freaking female as friends. You know what I mean?
Hmm.
A lot of my friends were women, so a lot of times I would have friends that are women, and I really don't see anything in. I don't see you as anything other than a friend. And I've learned that sometimes that's not really women don't really understand that or care to understand that because they look at men as that's like, a man is always gonna want to sleep with you.
Mhm.
So I've had to, come to the understanding where but as far as my best friend, she's been my best friend through, the death of my father. She's been my best friend through birth of my kids, all of that stuff. She's my friend and that's it. And I can call her and this is how this is why I love her so much. I can call her at 2 o'clock in the morning
Mhm.
and tell her I need her. She's
Yeah.
right there.
Yeah, that's a friend. Like, we get like, I understand that. Um, yeah, I mean, I think if there's someone who's been there with you for that amount of time and before your girlfriend or your wife, then I think, yeah, you still have to be friends, but I think, yeah, everything should be pretty transparent and they should be comfortable with one another. Um,
The only issue I can say is a post relationship friend. You know what I mean?
yeah.
And but even then, like I said, if you have a post relationship friend, that person can actually be your friend. It's just you have to be okay with, you know, not hiding it. You know what I mean?
Yeah, well, there shouldn't be anything hid because, and if you're hiding something, there's more to it than that. Then,
And that's where I think a lot of men, and really, it does come down to the men having the issue.
yeah, most of the time, I mean, you see a dude pop up, you're gonna be thinking like, all right, what is he trying to do? I have a pretty girl. Is he trying to talk to her? What's going on? So you're always gonna be on alert whenever that happens. The same for a woman. If you start talking to some random new woman, your girl's gonna be ears are up. Like, she's gonna be ready to.
Which is understandable, but sometimes I feel like when you have issues like that, there's some type of insecurity or some type of trust that's not there. You know what I mean?
When it's with a girl.
Girl or guy.
Hmm.
Because I feel like if you say that this, and maybe it's just me and I'm naive and I just feel like if someone comes to me and tells me that that's my friend,
Hmm.
I'm just gonna take your word for it because I feel like you need to know you have an understanding versus of what's right versus what's wrong. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And there's I wouldn't expect you to have your friend calling or texting your phone at midnight.
Right. Well, I guess it comes down to how much you really trust that person that you're with too. Like, because if you really know that person, and I'm not saying that people can't hide stuff and there's a different side to people that they may not reveal to you, but if that's someone who you really, really trust, then you probably would be like, eh, it's probably not a big deal. You might still watch out here and there, but it's not something that serious. Whereas if people are in relationships with people who they don't really trust, or they always have something in the back of their mind, or even you could just be a non-trusting person, and that's gonna put you on edge. So I think there's a lot of factors in that, and it depends on who these people are.
But what do you think that stems from?
If you are insecure about it, or if you maybe you got cheated on the past, that's easy.
But then, and this is one of my things that I always talk about. Why are you bringing your past trauma to affect us? Because that's all it is. You're bringing your past into the present, which is affecting your present.
Yeah, that is true, but I feel like everybody has a past and they bring some aspect of it, whether they know it or not, to it. And until those people unpack whatever that is, that's going to be a tension. But that's what relationships are, kind of, to me. That's like, you have to grow through that. If you don't, I mean, the relationship becomes stagnant, or you deal with something that is not evolving. But I feel like eventually you should work through it, especially if the person you're with is good. But it's like, you get conditioned after a while, like Pavlov. whatever Pavlov's law. You know, when they keep ringing the bell, the dog, they give the dog food. They keep ringing the bell, they give the dog food. Eventually, you ring the bell, and the dog is drooling because it
It's
expects
expecting the
food.
food.
So, you know, you keep maybe there's a girl who's been cheated on 3 times in a row. She meets that good guy, and she's like, "But it's only time until he cheats on me again." I mean,
But don't you think that that's a problem? Like, I feel like
I'm
if
not saying it's not a problem, but I'm just saying it's the reality of things, and people have to work through it. That's just life.
I mean, yeah, I mean that is true, but I feel like when you bring your past into to your present and it affects your present, you can't then expect that person to now thus be okay with it. And
This
I
is what
think
I would
and I think
say.
that that's a big problem in when it comes to relationships nowadays.
This is what I would say. If you're in that if you're with that person, you better figure that out early before you make real commitments and stuff to that person, because maybe she won't be able to fix that, or maybe he won't be able to fix that. Now you got to determine, can I live with that? If you can't live with that, then you might as well pack it up and go find something else that is more to your liking, because you can't get into a relationship, a commitment, or anything and expect the other person to change. That person you see in
Mm,
today may be the same person for the
mm.
rest of your life. So you got to look at it like, damn, am I going to be okay with that in 20, 30, 40 years?
Hold on. Say that again now. I'm gonna repeat that one.
Listen, the person that you meet and that you're together with, I'm not saying they should stay that way, but there is a potential that they could stay the way that they are forever. And you have to keep that in mind. You can't go into a relationship being like, uh, yeah, he's good. I could help him change to be like this. And yeah, he'll over time he'll get over this and this. That person may never get over whatever it is. So you have to be okay with that person
Mm.
potentially being the same way. But I feel like you should kind of scope that out in the beginning too. When you get to a certain age, you should be like, oh, I don't know if I want to deal with that. Like,
Mm. Ladies and gentlemen, you tell us what you think about that. Next week episode of Let's Be Real, we're gonna start from right there. Can you expect that person to change?
yeah, I mean, I'm firmly in the camp of nah. You can hope, but there's no guarantee.
And I'm on the other side. Well, that's this week's episode of Let's Be Real. I'm F.
This is Dell.
Stay tuned, hit that like, subscribe, and we'll see you again next week.
Later, guys.